with.
I know.
Hi, March Money. I was just talking with Tammie, so welcome, Tammie. She's our guest today, Kdp for B2B. But I was just telling her, I'm like, I've had so many time changes. So I'm in my new place in Missouri. So now this is only 7 o'clock for me instead of 8 o'clock. And then we had a time change over the weekend. So it was like, I set the clock back and then I set the clock forward. And I'm like, so now it's basically the same time as it was in Virginia, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's just like we're all just, what time is it? We don't know.
I'm like, we're starting at the right time, right? I hope so. But anyway, so welcome, Tammie. I've gotten to know Tammie over the last couple of weeks from Clubhouse. She's been so awesome to join both of the marathon-long Clubhouses we've had and a few other ones in between. So welcome. Introduce yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you. The Clubhouse has been so fun and so fun to actually meet everybody and get a chance to talk. And so I was so grateful for you to invite me to your show here with Merch Money. And yeah, so my name is Tammie Chrin. I started Kdp for B2B, which I know is a obscure name, but we love acronyms in this field.
Yeah.
And Kdp stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. So that's the Amazon's print on demand for booklets or books. And the B2B is for business to business. So we're creating branded booklets for businesses. So that's kind of it. Excuse me, I have a little tickle. And that is it in a nutshell. So Kdp for B2B is Kindle Direct Publishing for business to business. And I usually say Kdp with a twist because it is about Kdp, but we're adding another income stream to if you already do Kdp. So I don't want you to think this has to be something completely different, but it's another way to make an income with your Kdp business as you have already.
Well, I think that is so awesome. And it's just, there's so many ways to do print on demand. And sometimes we just need to hear it from other people just to get that idea in our head. Like I honestly had never thought about doing Kdp for businesses. I don't know why. I've done t-shirts for businesses, not a lot, but I've worked with at least 2 businesses.
Okay.
But it's like, for some reason, I never thought about doing Kdp for business. So I think this is perfect to get to talk to you today and just get everybody thinking bigger and thinking about a whole nother way to do Kdp. So before we dive too much into that, let's back up a little bit and just talk about how did you get into Kdp to begin with? And did you do did you do t-shirts and things before Kdp, or did you start straight with Kdp?
All right. So my husband and I have been in the Amazon on the platform for many years doing selling on Amazon, RA and OA and all the selling parts of third-party selling. So we had been into that for 7 years prior. I've done eBay, I've done some other businesses, just dabbling in it, but we were starting to wanting to get out of our careers. So we started getting into the Amazon platform about 7 years ago and been selling on that platform for quite a while. And I was the shopper and all the things that we need to do for that business. And what when Kdp started kind of being talked about in the Amazon space, my husband said, you should check it out. It might be something really interesting for you to do because I love that creative side. I thought, and it's in the Amazon platform. And I was like, oh, that'd be really interesting. So I took a class and I just really, really loved Kdp. So I did not do merch first. We had merch accounts because, we had been in Amazon. So we got our merch account when we had to wait, to get in. So we did that, but I didn't really do anything with it. I just kind of let that sit. I had created my own t-shirts and did that a little bit. But so then I got into the Kdp world, started down that direction, and I was having a little trouble getting my books to sell. It was the low content books, it was like just journals, notebooks, anything like that. So it was on the simpler side, but I didn't have a graphic design background, so my books weren't beautiful. So I wasn't doing these beautiful and great covers, which, and I wasn't really great at keywords myself. And I know that that's something that everyone talks about, the keywords are so important. And I think they are definitely an important part of Kindle Direct Publishing. But I also, and then the advertising. So then I knew about advertising on the other side with Amazon. We did ads for our products. So I knew how that worked, but it just didn't fit. So I got my journals up and all my stuff, and I waited for the sale. This is the classic story. Yeah. And cricket, like nothing. I didn't sell anything except one time, one book, and I found out my sister bought my journal. So I got that was my one sale, was my sister. And I wasn't going to be paying a mortgage with that one sale. So I just kind of stopped and thought, okay, how do I take this to a different direction? I think the KDP model is great. It's no cost to get in. There's no inventory. It's your own business and all those things. So I love the idea. It was just, how do I spin it to make it work for my business, basically. So go ahead.
I love that. Sorry to interrupt. I'll just jump in for a minute. I love that whole thing. And I think there's so much to take from that because, first of all, I did kind of the same thing, like starting with FBA and on the Amazon platform. I started I always say like end of 2013, beginning of 2014, somewhere in there. It was very gradual. It's like me watching YouTube videos and learning. So I don't know the official like start, but 2014, give or take. And it's just progression. And the nice thing about being in the Amazon world is you hear about all these little things that shoot off. So it's like KDP, merch, Amazon handmade, Amazon custom, like there's just so many little Amazon businesses. And once you're in that little ecosystem, it's like you can learn about all these other things. So it's really cool for everybody out there. Like, just get in there and try it. So you might start with Amazon FBA and then go to merch, or you might start with merch and then go to Amazon FBA, or do all of them or whatever. But don't ever get discouraged, because there's so many different paths to take, and they all can kind of help each other in a way. Like you learn one thing from one, and then you take that, so I think that's great. And then I love how you started, and then instead of just being like, okay, this isn't working, you're like, how can I make this work? So so continue. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I think it's great. I absolutely do. I think this story is very familiar with most of us who have started our e-commerce business. Any way it goes, it's always, trial and error, and, how does it work for me and my lifestyle and all those things. So when I did, like I said, I kind of just took a step back from it, just like really a few months into it. And I thought there must be a better way to drive traffic to my book. That was my first thought, is like, how do I get people to buy my book? And then when I sat there and thought about my background, I've been in, I've had my own business since I was 22 years old. So I knew what having a brick and mortar, business would be like. I knew what a business owner felt like. So I put myself back in that position and thought about how would these books serve them, and how could I help them get their information to their clients. And I remember, when I bought marketing material for my business, I would get these, marketing material, and you have to buy so much of it. And I knew what Amazon, you can buy with the print on demand, one at a time. And that's a huge savings for a business owner. And I knew if you could save them money and time, this would be a go. And so I started just kind of going down that thought pattern. And when I started thinking about, also you can make changes to Kdp booklets, versus like if you had 100 books printed, usually that's about how many you have to have from a printer, which I still use printers too. So, I don't want to discount printers, but printers are fabulous for certain things. But this model right here worked really well for if you had a mistake in a book, or you wanted to add something to a book, or something changed. Kdp allows you to upload a new file that you can make those changes really quickly and less expensive than having a stack of 100 books with a mistake.
Good point.
So that is one thing. And then, as we've talked about many times in Clubhouse, is the shipping. Amazon is great at shipping. So that was another. So those are the 3 pluses for the business owner. So if you're thinking, okay, how would this work for a Kdp business owner? They don't have to even touch the book. They can just ship it right from their account. And let me back up a little bit. Kdp, when I'm talking about this Kdp for B2B model, it's under my account. So it's under my Kdp account this booklet is created. So I make a royalty every time a book is sold.
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify that. So then I give them a link to their book from Amazon, and they can sell their book, that way, or give it away, or whatever they're going to do. And there's a lot more to that piece, but I just wanted to kind of preface that it is under my account. So it would be under your KDP account for the business owner. So you create this. So that was kind of my first step and my first logic to how this would work. And when I started reaching out to business owners that I knew, and I went right to people that I knew and just asked them this question: what have you ever thought about having a branded book for your business? And I happened to be in the nutrition and kind of weight training and all those different in the gyms. Nice. And that's where I started, was talking to people with did nutrition, did weight training, did all that stuff. And I just asked them that question, and they were like, because they were always handing us pamphlets, papers. Make sure you track this, make sure you do this. So then that clicked in my head, is like, these are low content booklets in a way. So I thought, this is a low content booklet, or they have all of the information from their business. I'm just going to input it into a PDF and upload it, create the cover and brand it for them, and then go from there. And it just struck like a light bulb. I was like, this is going to work. And so I just kept hustling and going to other people. And then how I got involved in teaching this is people were asking me what I was doing. You know how that goes, right?
That's the best way. Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm like, because I was in, my little KDP group, my little Facebook group. I'm selling books and I'm doing, it's like, I was just all excited about my little journey. Yeah. And they're like, tell us more. I'm like, okay. So then I just kept going at it and doing those kind of things. And that's basically how it started. Is and now the business is driving traffic to my book. I don't have to do ads, and I don't have to do keywords. Not that you can't, you can absolutely do that, but I don't have to, because the business now is driving all of their customers to that book. So amazing. That's it basically. And there's different ways to do like rev shares, and we can get it. There's so many pieces to this. I don't really want to get down that rabbit hole right now.
Well, first I was just going to say, like, I love that whole thought process. And even if people, we'll definitely mainly talk about today doing B2B, but just first of all, that thought process of, my book's not selling, what can I do to help my business or sell? And so you're thinking, who's the customer? How do I find the customer? And there's so many different ways to do it. And you found one of the ways. One of the ways is just get out there, talk to people face to face, and find a need in the market. And so you went to businesses, found what needs they had, and created a product to meet their need. So that's like the best way. If you can find the customer first. I talk about Undercover Billionaires sometimes because I love that show so much. Yeah. And on the first season of it, Glenn Stearns was saying, like, the very first week or something, he's like, first I need to find the customer. So he went on like classified ads or wherever people were asking for things. So he found somebody who needed something, and he went to go find it to sell it to them. So it's like you find your customer first, and then you figure out how to serve them. So you did that with the businesses. You found the customer, found out what they needed, and provided it for them.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's so much opportunity. And kind of one of the questions that comes up sometimes is, well, why wouldn't the business just create their own booklets themselves? We call them booklets because that makes it sound different than a literature book. So I've changed the name to booklets. So when I say booklets, that's what I'm talking about is these booklets for businesses. And so when people ask me that question, well, why don't they just do it? Well, first of all, I have been a business owner. I never had the time. You're working on your business. So if you are a like a nutritionist or a hair or a gym owner or whatever, you have no time. You're working on your business. They don't want to learn KDP.
They might not have thought of it.
They don't even know. That happens a lot.
You think it's like a whole book, like a novel, and you're not even thinking that you could do booklets on there. Like even myself, I always think of it as like books until people are like, no, you could do coloring books and all these other things. Right. So, yeah. So there's so many different ways to go with it, and taking your KDP knowledge or even your merch knowledge and using it into
using it for the business side of it, you can do the puzzle booklets. Like you could go to a, fundraisers or schools or anything like that. So you can kind of even expand on that and use your knowledge you have with coloring books or puzzle books and brand that book for that business or service or whatever they're doing. So that is, they don't have time and they don't know about it normally. I know we're all in this world, this little bubble.
And they're not graphic designers. They're, they're business owners in something else probably most of the time.
Yeah. And has there been a few people said, oh, I'm going to figure this out myself? Yes, there's always a few, but in the majority, if you can take this off their plate and do this booklet for them, and I charge a setup fee. So I create a setup fee. So you get paid money up front. And then you get the royalty every time a book is sold because it's under your account. And so that's a great way to make a little money pretty quickly, because it takes time to create the booklets, so you got to, whatever your, amount of money you want to make for your hourly rate or whatever you want to come up with, because it is your business. This is all about your business. But it's a great way. So I started creating a fee, just a setup fee, and then I get a royalty. And my setup fee can be a little bit lower because I know I'm going to make money on the back end. Yeah. So you're going to make money on the back end. So I can create that booklet a little bit less than what somebody else might do it if I wasn't going to get money as a royalty.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. So do you come up with the concept of the books too? Like, let's just say it's a nutritionist. You're, talking to a nutritionist, do you explain to them what the booklet would be, or do you ask them for ideas, or how does it work?
Well, it depends on the business, and the longer I've been in doing this, and it kind of goes into different kind of buckets and how this will work. Let me show you something that when I was first working with a nutritionist. One of the books we came up with, I signed up for her coaching, and she coaches all around the world, like online and all that, but she happens to I live in Colorado, and she lives in Colorado. And so she said, "Hey, sign up for my group." And I was like, I'm all into it. I'm like, yes. And so I signed up, and she handed me this.
Oh my gosh. You're like, there you go. Kdp book right there.
So this was kind of one of my first ones. And I was, I was bubbling inside. Like, I was just like, and she is a fantastic businesswoman. I love everything. And I'm thinking, do you know how much I can make this look fabulous for you? So to answer your question, Helen, this was all of her information. I did not
literally already had it.
She has a whole program, the whole 8 weeks or whatever we did. And, it's the same things. She was printing this off and and then I don't know how, I didn't even get a chance to ever ask her, like, did she just send this to, I think she did the PDF for free or whatever. Now her program isn't inexpensive, but adding a booklet to her program didn't cost her that much for marketing material. And it really elevated her brand. And I'm going to show you, this is what it looks like now.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So we took this with photocopied. So if you ever see these Kdp people, grab it. This is your gold right here. This is it. So this happens often. So I didn't have to rewrite anything. I just had to create it, set it up, and then you can take a look, and here it is. She did not want one thing changed graphically. So amazing. It's all her material. I just formatted it, put it together for her, branded it. She wrote up a little bio. I put that in the back, created everything on the front and back and all her information, and put it in the booklet. So now this booklet, how this works for me is about every, going to say, I think it's now every 6 weeks, she has she redoes the group, because it's Mind Body Revolution. So she's into this whole, workout and your mind and revolution, your body, and go on. Anyway, but she has a 28-day to activate. So so this booklet gets sent out to every client that signs up. So she just uses the service, and I have it at a price where I make the royalty, and she doesn't. She's just using the service to have it sent out. So the shipping through Amazon. So she has the link on her her site, or not really on her site, but on her information. And then she gets the client's information, sends this book, they get it in 2 days. So it's a really easy way for a business owner to not have to go to the post office. That again saves them time and money. And they don't have a stack of them in their office. If they don't do a program that month, no big deal. They don't have 100 of books stacked up. It's that costs them money.
Yeah.
So they just do that. And so every time she has her course and does send these out, you get your monthly royalty. I get my fee.
Amazing.
And done. And she's so happy with being able to have this great branded piece that it does. People go, well, doesn't she care to make money on this particular model? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For her. She just wants it. She just wants it so I'll tell you, I add a $5 royalty to each book on this one.
Wow.
Now, as your own business, you choose what royalty you want. I'm just telling you what my royalty is on this booklet. So, it's like a reoccurring income that I'm making without touching. And I'm like a one and done. I did it. And then she has multiple classes coming up that she wants to work with more books and create more for her program. So that's one way.
Wow. I love that. So amazing. And it's like such a simple concept, but I don't think very many people are doing it. So you're what I know, you're the first one that I heard of that did it. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. It's like, I didn't think I would be the first, because people are all doing so many things with KDP or print on demand, anything. And so I just kind of was doing it for myself. And that's when it started kind of catching on with other people and asking me, what am I doing? How am I doing this? And I started just talking about it. And then it just started, exploding, and people were excited. And what the great thing is, there's no competition because there's so many businesses out there. Yeah. And being in FBA, he's like, if I have a product, I can't really tell you what my product is because someone might jump on my listing or get it. And this, we can share with everybody. And that makes me feel so good to be able to say, this person, how many of these type of people are out there in the world? Yes,
exactly. Because when you're talking about businesses as in solopreneurs, I mean, it's just endless how many solopreneurs are out there.
Yeah. So I don't want anybody to really think that there's not a lot of opportunity. I mean, and there's so much opportunity that you almost have to slow it down. I got overwhelmed in the beginning because I was like, oh, this business. So I now I even teach my students to kind of bring it down into like, okay, get maybe 5 niches just to get going. Because you get very overwhelmed because it's the businesses really want this. They don't even know about it. I teach how to explain it to them. But then once they hear it, they just want to get it done today and maybe like 5 books. And I'm like, okay, let's get one done.
Wow.
So that's not a bad problem to have, I'll tell you. And so the other thing I wanted to really touch upon is because you do talk about the print on demand shirts, and mine was kind of almost the flip side of it. So I started branding. This is Iomi is a therapist that I work with, and I created just a basic, look at this, basic journal again.
Nice.
But she has clients all online again too, and in her area. And so she sends these out to everybody who signs up for her subscription plan. And then this journal she has everybody use. But then, so that's my branded journal for her business. And again, it's the same way. And I do a rev share with her. So I do a rev share. So she wants to sell this book. Yeah. Or whatever she's doing. So she promotes that in her business. But where the thing came through is we created t-shirts for her business through merch.
Nice.
So, when you're thinking of this business model is KDP, it can also take your merch, because now they want shirts and they do events and they want to know, they got pop sockets and anything else that you want to do on print on demand. It goes right along with the branding of their booklet.
And you could also put stuff on your Seller Central account if they need it. I mean, it's just endless. Like, it depends on what people need.
Exactly. So don't limit yourself to you're just creating a booklet. And for the business, it becomes, because now you have a relationship with them. This business owner wants to know, can you get this for me? Can you get this for me? I'm having an event. Can we put this whole package together? And so it's become more and more of Yes, I can.
Yes, absolutely.
And so don't limit yourself just to the booklets, but that was my angle in. And I think you were saying your angle in was with the t-shirts. So you can add the booklets now too.
Yes.
And it could be, think of it, it could be a tracker or something that you want them to, the business owner wants them to kind of see how they're doing, or a guide or a log or something to those events, or they have their own information like Tara did.
Yeah.
So another one I use is realtors. Realtors are a huge market for this type of booklet. Perfect. Because they want to be branded. They want to stand out. They give gifts to their clients all the time. So this is a home maintenance checklist. So they sell the house. They sell the house. And I just created a template, which just has kind of a, basic template in there. But so it's seasonal, fire extinguisher charge, batteries for your carbon and fire alarm filters, those kind of checkoff lists. So that's the same low content checkoff. But now the person who you sold the home to has this booklet and pulls it out every season, every quarter basically. And say in 5 years they want to sell their property, they'll go, what was Cindy's what was her name or contact information? Yeah. It's all right here.
You can even do a planner or something for them, because I know my real estate agent sends me a desk calendar every New Year, whenever Christmas.
Yeah, we get the calendars and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure they could do some type of Kdp book instead of a calendar.
Yeah.
And
I just want to show you one booklet. So this was getting your home ready to sell.
Oh, perfect.
So this one is sort of for the realtor, it's a pre-book. So what do you do when you're getting your home ready to sell? You need to, declutter, keep your home clean, all these things. So the template, once you create that, then you just change the cover each time for the realtor. And how many realtors do we know? So this is a good lead magnet almost for them. And then the other one is more of a gift. So I could share so much.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, first I just want to say hi to Elva and hi to Dina. Dina, it's so good to see you. She's always has to catch these real late at night because she's in Belgium. Dina, you are late at night, and for me it's earlier. It's only 7:30 for me now because I'm in Missouri. So had a couple different time changes to made the hour go back, and then daylight savings happened and moved it back forward. So anyway.
Oh my gosh, Helen.
So Elva, yeah, I know it was two time changes in a week.
That's crazy.
She's asking you, what would it cost a realtor for a book like that? Great question, Elva.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that question. It really, I would like to tell people, this is your own business. So this depends on how much you want to charge. I'll tell you how much I charge. I charge a $600 setup fee for something like this. So I'll collect $300 in the beginning and then $300 on when I'm finished with the booklet. And but that also depends on how much time you're putting into it. Now I have some other books that I put more time in and I've had to charge more, but 600 is my minimum for me. That's what I've come up with. That works for me on my time frame. And so that's how much I would charge. And then they have them send me all of their, logos and all of the information they want to put in it. And that's what I charge. And then I usually get a $5 royalty. That's my number for me per book.
Perfect. And then we have another question. Do you have the business owner sign some sort of agreement that you have the right to publish their content to protect yourself from any copyright claims?
Yes, absolutely. And I did create that agreement. And what I like about the agreement is that it just keeps everybody on the same page too, is what you've discussed. Because sometimes it's so much information, but an agreement is a really important part. I do have like a templated agreement for my groups and stuff, but it's really that you have to, you should figure out what's best for you and your business. I don't do a contract. I do an agreement. That's how I handled my business. But like I said, this is your business and you can do whatever you want, but I highly recommend an agreement just to make sure you're on the same page. Timeline, what the expectation is. If I don't get their information, I can't create the booklet. And if they have a timeline, I can't meet that timeline. So you just want to make sure those things are kind of written down. And yeah, so yes.
Great. I love it. Yeah, great questions, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
And let us know what you think. What are you, have you done this before? Have you thought of doing this before? I think it's so cool. And I guess like if it's similar businesses, do you also have to have an agreement in there? So let's say the real estate agent one. If you do a booklet for another real estate agent, how different does the interior have to be from the previous? Like, do you think the real estate agents will get upset if they're exactly the same, or how do you work that?
Yeah, that's a great question too. Basically, the interior, unless they stated like, I want something completely different, I just use the same interior because really it's about the cover.
Yeah.
It's really about the cover and their contact information. So they don't, that's still their brand and that's still their stuff. The interior really is just sort of the gift. Yeah. That's the gift to their client. And they just want, one thing we talk about a lot in my group is the business card or a paper or a folder you usually lose or displace, especially 5 years down the road. But a booklet, they don't throw them away. And this is something useful. So you're giving them a client useful and to use, and they're not going to normally throw this away compared to losing a business card. But to answer that question, yes, I only change the cover and I use my templated interior unless it's been discussed. But I haven't had anybody say they just want to be in front of that client and they want their contact information and a picture of themselves. That's what a realtor wants. They just want it. I mean, the calendars are the same thing. It's like the calendar is nothing different. It's their picture and name and contact information.
Very good point. Yes. Yes. That's a great line. If you ever do have somebody ask you, just be like, oh, well, it's just like if you ordered something like a desk calendar, they're the same for all the different real estate agents.
Yeah.
So, and you could always, if they really did want different, you could always like put their little logo or something on the bottom of each page or top of each page.
Yeah, I've done that before where I've to sort of like maybe the first page is a little bit more of their information. And I got this from the realtor. She gave me all that. So I just added that front page and then added their logo to the top corner.
Perfect.
So it's all the same template, but then I just added a few customized things. So,
yes.
To
I
make
love it.
Yeah.
So great. What about, there's so many little nuggets you've dropped on all the different Clubhouse things. So guys, definitely make sure you follow Tammie on Clubhouse if you don't already, and everywhere else. I put all of her contact information. If you're on Facebook, it should be in the description. And then if you're on YouTube, same thing on the YouTube description. But I know one thing you've talked about on Clubhouse rooms is QR codes.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the QR code is, it's been around for so long and then it just sort of resurfaced and I've been using it for a little while and I'm adding them to the books, not only for the business owner, but you can see right here, this is the business owner's QR code. So anybody who scans that goes right to her website or whatever direction you want to have it go to. And then I also in a book will put my own QR code for my business. So in case somebody else's, so here's my information in her book, and then another QR code of her business, just to make it stand out a little more. But the QR code is such a great way for printed material to be able to use, direct things to different business, to the business. But also we're talking a lot about using QR codes for video. So a little bit like if you met up with a coach, a golf instructor, and a golf instructor has a couple YouTube videos on how to do this certain swing, or a tennis pro or whatever you're working with, so you can create those little QR codes, put it right in that page and add that video. So it'll link right to the video. And I think that now makes this booklet interactive.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's been something we've been talking about in our group now. And with other people are doing B2B, Kdp for B2B. And the QR code now has kind of just been like, yes, this helps business owners so much. And then makes it interactive. And then your contact information. And I use a company called Linktree, and they just dropped a QR code. So your Linktree is basically all of your connections to yourself. So now I've created a QR code with Linktree, and now all of my social media, my website, my YouTube channel, Clubhouse is there, but it's not, it doesn't link to anything, but it's all in one spot. So someone who's new to anybody could just click, just scan that, and QR codes could just be everything for these booklets and for businesses. So don't think of it as small little, like, oh, it's just their contact. It could be for videos. It could be for a video just saying, hi, thanks for buying my book. Come to my website, like a little more personal. It makes these booklets personal, and the business owners, that's gold right there for them. Yeah. They can connect with their clients.
I love the Linktree idea because it's, somebody might take the time to type in your, to find you on Facebook or your website or something, but they're not going to take the time to type it in for every single thing. So if you have that QR code that you can just scan it and then just kind of click through on Linktree, like, it's so much easier.
Yeah, I just did a video on it, and I'm going to put it up on my YouTube channel because I did that whole Linktree. I just was going through creating my KDP for B2B, and I was adding a few things, and I noticed that they added that QR code, and I was like, because the link is great. I mean, the link works too, but the QR code was just like, yes. So it's able to give more information to all of your social media, anything you want to, have someone as a customer look at. So as for a business owner or myself, works great.
Perfect. Yeah. Alva's asking, won't these business owners want to be holding stocks of the books?
Okay, so that's a good question too. So what you can do, what we call it, is you can do author's copies, and I do this quite often. So say a realtor is going to have an event and they want to have multiple books. I do an author's copy, which we call in KDP for B2B a wholesale price. So I order author's copies, or what we call wholesale, and then I send it to the realtor when there are events coming up, or any of my business owners. If events coming and they want a stack of books, it drops the price down for them, gives them a discount, but you still get the $5. Like, I still could make my nut there and get $5, or whatever you want to do.
I think also it's a good way for the real estate agent or whoever to get the contact information for the customer. So they might have one that they're holding and then be like, oh, I'd love to send you one. Can I have your name and all this? I think it's a good way.
It's that lead magnet right there.
So it's a way to get the contact information instead of just handing them the business card. It's like, oh, let me have all your information, so I'll send you my
and I'll send you my, especially like a homemade, getting your home ready to sell booklet.
Now you have their address, so it's on your mailing list. Now you can, if they decide to go with someone else or something happens, at least you can still be in contact with them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we do a lot of lead magnets. I have this one that I've done with for a lead magnet called Stop Selling and Serve, and it is a person he had written, is more of a literature kind of to how to sell cars. It's about cars. Selling cars, and he's in the car industry, and he just wanted to have his own lead magnet. So he's using this as his lead magnet to talk about how to sell cars. So he had created all of this, and I do work with, I now work with another graphic designer and a book editor, so that, because I'm not those things, so I've hired people to do that. So that kind of leads into another thing, is you don't have to do everything. I did in the beginning because I didn't know anything else. So I just created but you can, the books are pretty basic, like some of the journals and all that are pretty basic, like these, and I use Canva. I'm just a Canva person. So I'm not in, I tried other things. It's just too complicated. I didn't want to learn all of that. But I started working with a lady, and has done book design. And that way this book could get done. So I didn't lose that sale. And now we just share it in a rev share with her as creating it. So you don't have to be a designer and all that. You can hire people and do all that. And we know a lot of the Fivers and all those things, but also I just built a kind of a collaboration with this person. And so when I get these kind of books, which is going to come up for you guys sometimes, if you don't want to let that lead go, then just have someone you can work with to create these for you, so that this is a little bit out of my league as well when it comes to, editing and really kind of laying out that kind of layout was well beyond my skills. So I hired, have someone to help me with that.
Amazing. And so do you have any kind of system to keep in touch with people? So let's say you made one book for that business. Do you keep in touch with them to follow up and make one down the road, or like any kind of way to keep in touch with all these different business owners?
Yeah. So, when you do work with them, it starts to become, it's like they're so excited and it's their little project and you get to be a part of that project. So you spend time back and forth with them on this project. And so I get all their contact information. Then we have I have a Instagram page that I will put their booklets up on and, promote their stuff too about their company. So, I'm always in contact with them still. Okay. And, with Facebook and all the other ways we in Instagram staying in touch. But I, marketing back to them, they usually are so like, we already have a few lined up in advance. And if they're doing a new program or something, they usually reach out to me or they send me clients. So once you start getting that ball rolling, they start saying, hey, Tammie can do that for me, and then they reach out to me. But yeah, I stay in touch with them all, either email or Facebook or something. But usually that relationship gets really close and then I love to surprise them with their book. So once the book has been completed, the booklet, I like it. With COVID, it's been a little different sometimes, but I do them online or I send it to them. If I'm in person, I bring it to them. And I usually try to video it so that they can, I have a few videos on my Facebook page where I'm giving them the booklet and their faces. Oh, it's the best. That's my favorite thing.
I love that.
See their books. Like, this lady here, I had known for a while and she's got her own, business going and everything and talked to me about doing this for about a year. And then I actually got to give her her book and it was just so
I love
exciting.
That. What a great idea to videotape it. Aww.
Well, it's good marketing for me, but it's also, I love doing it. I love seeing their faces. And so I get to see their face all the time.
And it's good marketing for them too. They could use the video on their pages too and just be like, look what we have now.
And they do that too. And, that's exactly what they do with that as well. But so those are some of the things. The other question I usually get and is, what if I'm an introvert and I don't want to go? Because a lot of us, KDP people wanted to stay behind the scenes. And my answer to that is, I would connect up with somebody who likes to be out there. I am kind of that person that I like to be with people and talk with people, but I understand that people don't want to do that. But what I suggest is partnering up some way with someone. Maybe you're the graphic designer and you're going to do all the book, layouts and all that. And then you have your person that's sort of your sales or lead person that goes out there. And with COVID, I thought, we started this before COVID, and then COVID hit right when things, but it's actually exploded because there's so many businesses online. So you don't have to see anybody in person anymore. And it's actually made it much easier to talk this way because they're all used to Zoom now or StreamYard or whatever. They weren't before. They'd be like, oh, I don't, just come down here or just get on the call. I'm like, well, it's really nice to be. Anyway, so it opened up a lot more doors. A lot more people got online with businesses. It's not that hard to connect with people. So if you're an introvert, that's what I suggest. I understand it is a little intimidating, but there's ways to walk through this process. And it's like, how do I approach a business is another question that I get, is how do I approach these businesses? And I've been, in sales a long time, but I've never sold anything is what I say. I've always just served the person and listened. And a lot of time it's listening to what they want and then providing the service for them. And that's all it takes. It's not that pushy sales. I don't go in there and go, hey, do you want a book? I create these booklets. I go in and I ask them this is kind of a golden nugget right here, is I ask them about their business. Tell me about your business. How did you get started? When did it start? And, what is it about? And that they love that. They love finding that out. So then I just ask them, those questions. And then I say, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm creating these booklets for businesses. Could you tell me how this might fit for your business? It's not. And if they react and they'll start going, well, how could I get one of these? And then that's when or it might take time for it to sink in a little bit, and then they then reach out to them again and just say hi. You don't have to do that hard sell. There's no, if it's a fit, it's a fit. And then if you got to just explain it a little bit because they don't really know what this is available. But you hit the 3 points of shipping's free. It's you don't have to have a stack of books. It won't cost you anything. You know, all those things except to get it set up.
I think the rule of thumb is just like before you even talk to them, just in your own mind, if you were that business owner, like, would you do it? Like, does it help? Does it actually help them? And if the answer is yes, then it makes it so much easier to sell because you know, like, obviously that book looks so much better than that binder that person was using.
Yeah.
So like hit in your own head, like, okay, this is definitely is going to look better than what they're doing right now. So then it's easier to talk to them because you don't really feel like you're selling because it really is just helping them elevate their business.
Solve a problem. And that's the biggest thing is I try to teach that all the time is to solve the problem. You know, listen for the problem and then solve it for them. So don't tell them about 20 different types of books they could have. Just listen and then find that one booklet that might be that first one. And then the other booklets come along. But it's building relationships. I think that's just personally just something that I think that any business you own, you want to build relationships and you want these people to come back to you and use your services. And like I said, t-shirts now. And I mean, when I started the booklet, I did not think of t-shirts and doing all that stuff. And then all of a sudden it just started going.
We got some more questions. I like Elva's. She's like, okay, Helen, you approach these people. I'll put the book together. That might be a good thing, Elva. Let's like think about that.
Yeah, you guys team up. I'm telling you, team up.
Yeah, I wouldn't really mind. Okay, let's see. Do you ever approach medium to large companies or just solo business owners?
Yes, it depends. Like I said in the beginning, I started kind of getting so excited that I knew how many businesses this could fit. So then I went to one called Anytime Fitness, which is a franchise gym. Asked them that same kind of question, you know, do you guys have this is a franchise. So I thought they would have a booklet like this, you know, sorry, I can't see the booklets.
Amazing.
And so this one was a little bit more, but now I have a templated, you know, but put their little logos in and the gym information and all that tracking guide. So I asked the gym owner, do you have one? Because I was watching in there and they were taking like a piece of paper for the new customer would come in to do, you know, test all the machines and figure out which ones would work and they track everything. And they just had this piece of paper on a clipboard and that's what they would give him. He goes, no, I kind of made one myself. I was so surprised because this is a very large franchise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said, I have had an idea of 3 books. So he runs me in the office. He's like, I got this book, this book, this book. Can we combine them? And I said, we can make anything you want. And so he gave me all of his ideas. This one took me a little longer. This is where I would start getting into charging more for time because and then we had to get permissions.
How does it work with franchises? Are they allowed to kind of just do a book on their own, or does it have to be like company wide, or like how does that work?
Yeah, at this point, they were able to make that decision and give me permissions to use their logo and you can see like this is pictures for their gym. And then we got permission to use their machines, photos, the stock photos of the machines that we reached out to the company, or he did, and the owner did. And then that was fine. And they were able to do any marketing they wanted to do. So that was no problem to do this booklet. And then what led to the
So remember that, guys, if you're talking to franchises, this is an example of they were able to get the approvals. So don't let it scare you. If the owner says they can't, just be like, well, we found that a lot of franchises have a little bit of leeway with their marketing. You might be able to ask and get approval.
And it may lead to more of a bigger
once it
yeah.
works for one franchise, it may go company wide, or at least get referred to another franchise owner.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what kind of happened with this. Then they told me, oh, we're really good friends with the other guys down the street. Why don't you go, so they gave me the name, the person to go talk to them. I'm like, okay. So I already had this sort of lined up, and all I need to do is really change the logos go and be the same. So everything's pretty much what they wanted. So yeah, so yes, you can go to bigger companies. Don't be afraid of that. I was surprised. That was one of my surprises, that I thought for sure they'd have something because they were such a big franchise, and they did not. They don't have it. and I don't know why. But the franchise, they're the ones that have to buy these. So the franchise owners, so they were excited to have something. And what we did again, Helen, back to the QR code. So this gym's a 24-hour gym. So there's not a person there always to serve at the office, work at the office just till like 8 o'clock at night. So what we did is we created a flyer with all the, and we put it in a frame and everything, put a QR code to link to this booklet to Amazon's site and link it to the book. And and we made one copy as, something they could look at as a sample, and then they could just scan it if no one was there. So it was just in the front little area that they had some shelves, and we put it there so that QR code again was just sitting there by itself with the book. And that way, if people go in at midnight, they could still get the book. And if people think that people don't use books anymore, booklets, I found that to be, I thought at first, I'm like, maybe, everybody's on digital, especially in the nutrition world. Mm-hmm. I thought, oh, everybody uses it. They do. But I looked in the gym all the time. I go in the gym, everybody's writing stuff down. The trainers always say, go get yourself a notebook. Mm-hmm. If you hear that, go get yourself a notebook, you want to talk to that business owner and you want to brand their notebook. Yeah. Why go out and so, yeah. So I know I'm rambling because I have so much to share with you. But
oh my gosh, this is amazing. This flew by. We're already to almost an hour. So let's at least mention your course that you have, or your groups, or anything that you want to talk about.
Oh, thank you.
Let people know where they can find you.
So I do have everything's under the KDP for B2B, and it's KDP and the number 4 B number 2 B. .com for my website, and mostly like Instagram, KDP for B2B, my YouTube channel is KDP for B2B. So everything's under the KDP for B2B. And I have a Facebook group that you're more than welcome to join. It's pretty interactive. We have a lot of videos there. I have a YouTube channel that I'm just getting that kind of rolling out with more videos that we do. And then I have a 16 module course. It walks you from, if you're just started KDP. So there's a very beginning part is how to even get started in KDP, in the sense of how to get an account and all those things. So if you're brand new, that's covered. Then it gets into more of design, very, low content design. Mm-hmm. And then it gets into a lot of the pricing, and that's where the meat of the course is in the pricing. It's how to price the booklets, how to do a rev share, how to make your royalty, partnership agreements, all the things that you need to build that business, and how to get, referrals and business back to. And then we created a calculator that will help you break down all the numbers. My husband created that for me, because the number games, like if it's an author copy, how much is the shipping, how much is it with black and white, ink, color, all those things. So I have a calculator, but you don't need to have that to get started. But we talk about how the pricing works and all that in the course. And then we do have separately a calculator for sale as well. So amazing. We're getting there. It's a business that I've been doing. I still do it. Then I'm sharing with how to do this. So it's a work in progress, a lot of it, but it's really the 16 module course really walks you from A to Z. It's just on your own self-training, all that there. So that's on my website. So yeah, so we just love people. I love, sharing this. I think that I love seeing people that take it and run with it, and they make their own little business and twist with it, and love hearing back from my students as well.
Well, I have really enjoyed getting to talk to you. Over the last. I know, I'm like so excited. I'm making my headphones fall off. But yeah, talking to you the last couple of weeks just on Clubhouse and Facebook everywhere. So thank you so much for everything you're doing for the community, and just being so open with information, and also just open to like joining, Clubhouses that I've done, and Travis and everybody else. you're very generous with your time and helping all of us. So
thank you. Well, you guys are too, and I'm grateful to have met all of you. And I'm excited to keep expanding with our groups and just being a part of it, because I think that we all connect in ways that, like you said, there's so many multiple ways that we can do our businesses. So it doesn't have to be there's so much opportunity if we can just help each other. I think it just makes it so great for everybody. So thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you to your audience for listening.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you guys all for watching and being here. And if you think of any questions after this is over, or you're watching the replay, just post them below and we'll make sure we answer. And be sure to follow Tammie, and be sure to like this video and share it with anyone that you think would benefit from this, which is really everyone. So share away. Yes. And Elva's saying thank you. Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Elva. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. Was there anything that we missed? Any last things before we go?
I think
you could talk forever about it, right?
I could. It's, when they ask you what you could talk about, I could talk about Kdp for B2B all day long. So, but well, yeah, no, I think we gave him an earful and just let it process. And there's a lot more to it, but I just wanted to give the high level of how this all works, and keep me posted. I love hearing about the success stories that you guys have. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask me.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.